Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Taking the Lead video podcast series. As you know, this series gives me an opportunity to interview leaders whom I hold in the highest esteem and the highest regard and whom I respect. So what a great gig is that? There's been a bit of a change in the world out there and a change in this series. So of course, we're going to be talking about how leaders are leading themselves and others through uncertain times. I don't like to say challenging times. I like to think of them as uncertain times or unprecedented times. So anyway, let me introduce today's guest. She's Lynn Kenney. She's the VP and Area Head for Corporate Affairs and Sustainability for North America for RB. Some of you may think of that as Reckitt Benckiser, though I know it's been a while. Previously, she held senior communications positions with, and if I pronounce it wrong, she'll correct me, ISI, and was in public affairs for Merck. And before that, she kind of, like me, grew up in the agency business. She was with Edelman and Cohen & Wolf and others. And I'm just thrilled to introduce my friend, Lynn Kenney. How are you today?
I'm well. Thanks so much for having me. It's a beautiful day, so I'm glad that I get to do this with you outside today. So
We're
thanks
going to
for having me.
pretend you're in Central Park or in the cherry blossoms of Washington, whatever it is. All right, let's dig right in. You currently supervise 2 full-time communications employees. You've got a lot of dotted line relationships there. So what are the 3, 4 maybe most important things you're doing to lead them through unprecedented times?
That's a great question. I think it's going to be different for everybody. So I'll speak to what's genuine for me. And I think that the most important thing is the authenticity of your relationships with these people, and that you don't try to play a game with people or try to soft sell something. I use real honesty with them to make sure that we're all coming from the same playbook and we all know that we can trust each other. And I think that's the first tip, is that really be empathetic. Everybody's situation is different. We're not all the same types of people. You don't know what they're dealing with at home. I'm taking this outside because I have kids inside. So be empathetic with everybody. It's really meant a lot to them to understand their situation and give them the space that they need when they need it, and not just put demands on them. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is lead from where you are. So if I'm outside, this is where I have to lead from. If I'm in a point of stress, I'll lead from there. If I'm in a point of calm, I lead from there. And I think that's helpful, because we're never going to be in the times we were before. We're never going to be in a structured environment. So we have to just take this position we're in today and lead from there with no expectation of how it's going to come out, just learnings. So I think leading from where you are and understanding where they are. And then lastly, it's sort of I call it a biblical reference, but be the rock, right?
Uh-huh.
I think more and more of us are bringing the focus in on meditation and finding our faith as that central thing. And I think that rolls out just beyond how you feel personally about yourself and your situation, but also about how you work with your kids, your family, and your employees. You have to be the rock for the employees. If you're the leader, they're looking to lean on you and to make sure that you're not going to let them fall. And so it's really, really important to be the rock for your employees and let them know that you're there for them no matter what.
And how interesting is it that the birds started chirping when you said that third point? That's got to, hello universe, that's got to be a sign from somewhere that's some great wisdom. And you know what, a lot of that really resonates. We've talked a lot about creating a different leadership and communication style for everyone you lead.
Mm-hmm.
And that's more important now than ever before, because some people need confidence a lot now. Some need autonomy and faith right now. Some need other things. So I think it's a good time to think, for leaders to think about whether I lead 2 people or 200. What do my people lead right now? The more you can customize, the more effective your leadership will be. So I know you also supervise an agency for their work on RB's behalf, and agencies are made up of people, right? It's not just client and account and agency person, they're people. So, and they're facing things that none of us have ever lived through before. So I'm curious how you've changed or modified your leadership style in your interactions with the agency people that
Yeah.
you work with and that you lead.
that's an interesting question too. I think what's interesting about agency, having been there, is um, agency people are very flexible. They're adaptable. They're fly by the seat of their pants. That's how they work in general. They're constantly shifting and changing priorities. So I think a universe like we're in today is actually quite normal for them. It's that they are getting more demands from people like us. So the demand has increased. So the empathy is still there for I feel you, I've been you. But for me, what's worked really well with my agencies is just giving them more authority on my behalf. So asking them, since I know them over the years, listen, I know you got this. Can you really be truly that extra set of hands for me? Can you just go direct to the employee, get the information? And I think that gives them a feeling of more worth and value that is going to be helpful for them moving forward. And we're a team, we're family. To be honest, my agencies are family. I've been an agency. Not everyone treats their agencies like that, but I believe that an agency is family and it's part of the team. So, we have business priorities, but then we also spend a lot of time with family priorities and talking about all the dogs that are being adopted apparently right now by everybody in the world. But I think it's the same thing, just making sure that they have the understanding that you value them and that their work is important. They're not going to lose money over me because I'm just throwing more money at it because I need help. But I think that they need to feel value too.
I'm sure all our viewers who come from the agency side are thinking, "Amen." Can I send this to my client? Because the notion of asking them to step up and asking them to take stuff from you and just giving them your proxy, which is how I heard what you said, and that there might be some nice money behind that. I think a lot of agency people would like that today. So I think the message for them, and I know so many of them are doing this, is reach out to your clients, ask them how you can help, ask them what you can take off their hands. And you may be surprised at, the autonomy your clients give you now because they have to. They have no choice. So great. It is all about opportunity. Last question for today. I know, we've met before. We've been on leadership panels. I've interviewed you for my column, and I know we agree a lot on leading people. And we've talked about leading people who don't necessarily report to us through our influence, through our positive energy and our wisdom. So in your case, I'm going to imagine that includes some marketing executives and teams who are at RB. How are you leading them? How are you leading people who don't have dotted lines to you, or maybe in really a different group, a peer group maybe?
So I'm passionate about this as well, and that I like to have a sphere of influence way beyond my team because we're all a team. And if I can help you, then we can help each other. What I've seen more and more in these days is if I simply just respond to an email that I haven't been directly in the to button for, but I'm going to copy, if I respond just with a thoughtful response, a positive response, a go get them, good job, I hope you're okay, it seems to give them that boost just from an, they didn't ask me for it. I just inserted it as a positivity. And I think that the more we can insert ourselves and show value to others about how we care about them, again, it goes back to empathy, authenticity, being there when they need them. I've seen responses just saying, thank you. It's so nice to hear your voice, even though from a computer, it wasn't directed to you, but I was so grateful that you just responded, and I think just it boosts people up to know that they're seen. And I think that it's more valued to someone to be seen by someone who is not your boss, and who is a peer or just a general colleague. That's my position. So I think it adds a lot of value.
And you mentioned something that is such a gift we all have today, to lift one another up in unexpected ways, to check in with people who we haven't spoken to in some time, or we last spoke to in February before, all this really started taking off. So, let's leave our viewers today with the message of reach out to someone, check in with them. They will feel lifted. You will feel lifted. And I think that's something that we as leaders and participants can give to one another in very unprecedented times. And let me thank you. I think there's a reason I reached out to you particularly last week and said, let's do this week, because I knew I would feel uplifted from your energy, which is just jumping out across the laptop. And I know our viewers are feeling it. So thank you so much, and keep leading.
Thank you, Ken.
You've been with Lynn Kenney of RB, and this has been Taking the Lead.